Things sometimes go deeper than how we perceive them in that instant. What you might think to be a scary situation could be harmless, and the seemingly harmless scenarios could play out as a disturbing encounter. The Mandela Effect. What if appearance or reality as it seems to exist to humans is not the same for everyone? What if there is a parallel universe that makes up for the different experiences and memories that people have?
What if the reality is different from what we remember? The Mandela Effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people remember an event or a fact differently than it actually happened or was reported. The term was coined by author Fiona Broome in 2010 when she realized that many people remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, when in reality he was released in 1990 and died in 2013. The phenomenon has been observed in many other instances as well, such as people remembering the logo of the famous chocolates company Nestle being different than it is currently. Many people believe that the Mandela Effect is evidence of a parallel universe or time travel, while others believe that it is a result of false memories or that people are mixing up similar events or facts. Some experts suggest that the phenomenon is a result of the way our brains process information, and that our memories can be influenced by our expectations, emotions, and the context in which we learn new information. So,
maybe not all ghosts are bad, that is, if they exist at all. The story of the Grey Man tells us that there are not only bad and scary ghosts, but ghosts that help humans. The Grey Man is said to have been sighted on many occasions, giving people insights and advice that eventually saved their lives.
Have you ever heard the ghostly story of the Grey Man?
Along the coast of Pawleys Island, South Carolina, a ghost that's been named the Grey Man has been seen along the shores for nearly 200 years and warns residents of incoming hurricanes and storms.
Many accredit the Grey Man to saving their lives.
Those who have encountered him say he will tell them to leave the island immediately, a storm is coming. Those wise enough to heed his warning will come back to find their homes untouched by the storms. Encounters with the ghostly apparition date back to 1822. And since then, there have been hundreds of sightings of him all along the Carolina coast. We've even caught the spirit on camera a few times. The Grey Man is appreciated by locals. He's seen as a watchful protector of the island and is here to help, not harm.
We need more ghosts like the Grey Man, right? If you want the full story of the haunting of the Grey Man, check out the most recent Avery After Dark podcast episode just dropped. So interesting, and the stories are so spooky. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else that you listen.
This picture looks like a normal picture, but on second glance, you can just feel it in your bones that something is not right with the picture. Rightly so. The eerie feeling that the picture gives becomes sensible when the truth comes out that it was taken from the camera of a dead girl who claimed months and weeks before her death that she was being watched.
I honestly don't know how to explain it. It's like when you look at this picture, something feels wrong with it. This was a recovered photo off the digital camera of Michelle Fong. What makes the photo unnerving is that shortly before Michelle had passed of her own doing, she had made these claims that there was a girl, an unknown girl who had been watching her. And these police, they would end up getting about 3 of her friends who testified to this, that in the weeks to months prior to the tragedy, she had been saying this. It was assumed that this was probably some kind of a fixation of her mental health issue. Maybe even a delusion until they found her camera. This picture that was recovered off of her memory card and completely changed the story. Just one frame of an unknown girl who seemed to be staring at her down her school hallway. School faculty as well as students were interviewed, and they were never able to identify that girl or determine whether or not she was connected to Michelle's death. Camera and memory card are eventually submitted for evidence, but that still leaves us with a question. Who was the unknown girl in the photo? And if you're loving Creep Time, make sure to go follow on Insta.
Sometimes things do not go as planned, and this is so even for events and carnivals that are planned by the world's most efficient companies. Check out these disturbing events from Disney Park.
Disturbing things caught at Disney parks. During the Carnival of Stars parade at Disneyland Hong Kong, the character Shelley May stops dancing with the other characters in the parade. She starts drooping over like she's going to fall, but no one seems to notice. When she finally does fall, a character attendant calls over other attendants and they carry her away from the parade. The video is actually very concerning, because none of the character attendants removed the character's mask to see if she was okay. During a Disneyland parade, Disney fans were surprised to see Maleficent's float on fire. At first, it's hard to tell if it's part of the show or not. The float is in the shape of a large dragon. The top of the dragon's head was completely on fire, but it actually looked really cool and like it could be part of the show. When burning pieces of the float started falling to the ground, the parade watchers realized that the fire was not a part of the show. A park attendant tries to put out the flames using a small fire extinguisher, but it doesn't do anything to minimize the flames. Finally, they get a large fire extinguisher and are able to put out the fire.
Have you ever wondered what it looks like when you kiss someone? You might think it is cute, and it probably is, but have you checked what it looks like from an MRI scan? Check this clip for it, but you might never look at kissing the same way again.
These are videos humans were never meant to see, part 4. Okay, so we all seen people kissing before, and most of us definitely kissed somebody before in our life. And there's nothing special to it, it's just kissing. But after seeing this video, you're never gonna look at kissing the same. This is what humans look like kissing in an MRI.
Did you know that Disney World is one of the most frequent public spaces where people scatter the ashes of their loved ones? Yeah, this is just one of the disturbing facts about Disney World that are in this video. Check out the rest.
These are disturbing Disney World facts. Up first, Disney's first water park called River Country closed permanently in 2001 after a crazy reason. An 11-year-old boy died from a brain-eating parasite. He got in the water at the park. The park is still there, completely abandoned to this day. Next up, the actor who used to play Gaston at Disney World Orlando accidentally killed himself by attempting to shoot fireworks off of his head. Next up, Disney World is one of the most popular places on Earth where people scatter the ashes of dead people. It actually happens so often that the employees have a special code to use to report it for cleanup. Finally, in 2010, a restaurant manager at Disneyland Paris took his own life one day after working a shift. But before doing so, he left a note on the wall that translated to, "I don't want to go back to Mickey ever again."
There are times that kids' fear is not just random fear, but fear from sensing what others find hard to sense. This is the story of Tommy, a young boy who was given exposure therapy to face his fears and found mutilated by whatever he feared that his parents couldn't see.
You guys remember the scary story, The Creature in the Cellar? The story goes like this. There was a little boy named Tommy who was so utterly terrified of his basement. Anytime he was in the kitchen near the cellar door, he would scream and cry and kick and just want to leave. His parents decided to take him to see a therapist. When they asked Tommy why he was so scared of the basement, he just said that he always felt like there was a creature down there trying to get him. Tommy's dad said, "That's impossible. I go in the basement every day. I know that there's nothing down there." The doctor then told Tommy's parents to give him exposure therapy, which they basically said make him sit in front of the cellar door alone until he's not scared anymore. So that night, when it got dark outside, Tommy's dad nailed the basement door open, turned off all the lights, and lit a single candle, placed it on the kitchen table, and made Tommy sit in the kitchen alone in front of the basement door. That night, they went to check on Tommy in the kitchen and found that he had been mutilated and unalived. Nobody ever knew exactly what happened to Tommy, but it's safe to assume that he was attacked by whatever he saw living in the cellar.
Are there real-life doppelgangers? If there are not, how would you explain why this newscaster broadcasts a sketch of a wanted person that looks just like him?
Scariest coincidences caught on live TV. On the 2nd of March 2012, a news reporter shows a police sketch, but it looks exactly like him.
If you think you see the man in this sketch, they want you to call the police tips hotline at number 816-474-TIPS. And we're live in Waldo tonight. Larry Seward, NBC Action News.
Boy, good illustration.
What led to this shooting illustrates just how on edge some people are with a rapist on the loose.
It's just something I think everyone needs to leave the police to handle.
What do you think?
There comes that moment when you think that you are at a fairly safe distance from the danger and choose to watch from your stance. Then suddenly everything changes and you are right in front of the danger itself.
Scariest moments caught on camera. This footage shows a group of skiers on a mountain when a massive avalanche begins to form on the top of the mountain. At first the skiers think they are a safe distance away, but they were very wrong. The avalanche keeps growing bigger and bigger until it finally comes rumbling straight at them.
The Legend of the Bedroom Light. This is the story of two girls, one who didn't turn on the lights and another who would be found brutally murdered and left in the pool of her own blood by morning.
The urban legend of
the bedroom light.
There were two girls who were the best of friends in school. When they went to college, they decided to live together and became roommates. One night, they were staying up late, trying to do some last-minute studying for a midterm exam that was scheduled for the next morning. One of the girls was quite lazy, so she decided to give up studying and went to bed early. The other girl was a hard worker, so she stayed up late because she wanted to do well in the exam. During the night, the girl who stayed up remembered that she had left one of the books she needed in her bedroom. She didn't want to wake her roommate by turning on the light, so she sneaked into the bedroom and rummaged around in the dark, looking for the book she needed. She heard some heavy breathing, and she whispered her roommate's name, asking her if she was awake.
There was no answer.
Then the girl heard something moving around in the dark, and she whispered, "Can I turn on the bedroom light?" The girl cleared her throat and asked again, "Can I turn on the bedroom light? I need to find something."
Her roommate didn't respond.
So the girl sighed in frustration and continued to search for the book in the darkened bedroom. Eventually she found the one she was looking for. The girl took the book and felt her way in the darkness towards the door. She stayed up all night studying and in the morning raced down to the exam hall to take her test. But she noticed that her roommate never showed up for the exam. The girl was worried about her friend, so when she got home, she rushed upstairs and knocked on her roommate's door.
There was no answer.
The girl was getting quite anxious at this point, so she opened the door and turned on the bedroom light. She was met with the most horrible sight she had ever laid eyes on. Her roommate lay motionless, sprawled on top of her bed in a pool of blood. She had been brutally murdered. Then the girl turned around and saw something that chilled her to the bone. Written on the wall behind her in smeared blood were the words, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?"
What do you think of these scary compilations? Which one of them do you not consider a scary encounter?